then I'm like, oh my God, that doesn't look
Okay, we're calling the meeting to order at 6:53. I think the sheet is going around somewhere. Carry on with signing up. Keep your eyes peeled on your MDIRSS email at all times for vouchers to approve via DocuSign, because that's important for people to get paid and important business to get done. Is there any public comment? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of 15 December 2025, the annual meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, there are no reports and updates because we needed to postpone the meeting. We made a decision that we would just keep this a truncated meeting. We'll return to our normal, and Mike will be back to give superintendent report, and Julie and Rhonda will give their reports on February 9th. If there's any ducks, they'll give their reports. So, we have two discussion items. The first of which is really the calendar, and so Rhonda can explain it, but basically Bar Harbor has a unique calendar this year due to the building project. That's not our normal intention ever to have two separate calendars, but because they have a unique circumstance. So we aren't going to be, at this meeting, we are not going to be discussing Bar Harbor's calendar. It's just so that people know, so that everyone's like, on the same page about what's happening. So, I'd also say the calendar committee has met extensively. There have been many meetings over this calendar. I think there was some, I don't see it linked, but there was possibly some public comment that came in about the calendar. So since it's not linked here, I'll try to make sure it gets sent around to people, but basically, I'm going to paraphrase it. It was expressing concern about and I don't know that they had seen this calendar, but not having too many early release days. So, are there questions or comments about this draft calendar that's linked in the agenda? Or do Julie or Rhonda have comments that you want to share with us?
I just want to talk about the early releases a little bit. There are 2 less early releases than there have been in the last 2 or 3 years. Since we've started the early releases on the Common Studies. So, and how that came about is we're really redesigning the Common Studies based on some feedback that we received that by the time teachers traveled to whatever school was hosting the Common Studies or where those Common Studies were, it was cutting into that 2-hour length of time, so they really weren't getting their full 2 hours, and they were meeting 5 times. So even if they got their full 2 hours, it was 10 hours a year, and it was a little chopped up. So what we've done is Julie and I talked with the principals, and always in the past, we've had 2.5 PD days to provide professional development for teachers, and then 1.5 days were for school-based, and we're proposing to cut that back to 1 day for school and 3 full days for the district, and then half of those district days will be for Common Studies. And so they're basically trading 10 hours of Common Study for 9 hours of Common Study, but more focused time with those 3 meetings. And also, it's when the high school is also available, so there will be the ability to have those pre-K through 12 discussions for groups who need that, and it will support our vision of a graduate. Anything I'm missing with that?
Yeah, we tried to explain this in the January note, so it's a little
put that on our discussion item, but is it linked in here?
It's not linked because of the,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Okay.
in that note.
Yeah, I don't, at any rate, the only thing I would add to that is that, oh, I just forgot, sorry. I was preoccupied with the link. I think you've got it.
Yes, and then.
Oh, yeah, I remember now, so, sorry.
Go ahead.
One of the reasons why we put these common studies in play in the first place, I mean, fresh off COVID, we knew we needed to do some work with curriculum alignment, make adjustments, and that meant taking teachers out of classes, right? So there was this real concern about, please don't do that, don't disrupt the instructional day. So one of the solutions was, well, if we are strategic about our time, we can do this work without pulling teachers out of classrooms and putting substitutes in front of them. And you might have remembered that was one of our initial communications that we gave years ago. So, we did a lot of that post-COVID work. So we were feeling a little more shored up in our alignment pieces, but also we're putting in place new governing structures. It's not fully developed yet. We'll report out on that a little bit later, but we're pretty polished on it. I'll tell you, it's just not finalized. Where we're just putting a curriculum review cycle in place. So let's say it's science next year. We will do a comprehensive review. We might pull teachers out only as it applies to the science to get that additional time. The rest is all common study. That's sort of the maintenance work. So when we're doing a deeper dive, looking at data more explicitly and need a little bit more, that will be the group we'll leverage. But it won't be everybody at once. So we'll be doing, taking turns, trying to be mindful not to disrupt the school day. So that was it.
Can I ask a question? I'm not sure if this fits into what you're saying about rearranging things, but if the concern is that you have 2 hours and you get teachers who feel as though they're cutting into it by traveling to be together, that suggests it would be nice to have greater groupings of similarly situated teachers in the same building to begin with, so that you could do the math work on a consistent basis and not have them scattered. Am I missing? Thank you.
I have a question about the required number of days per quarter, semester, and then year. And it looks like it's like 44. The shortest is 42, 44, 45, 44. Is there a certain number that is set?
175 for the year.
Okay.
How we split that up.
Yeah.
Adjust.
Marie?
I'm trying to figure out the calculation for graduation for next year. It seems to be like the week after it, like the Sunday. Usually it's like the Sunday before that. What's the shift there for the medicine work? And did that, are seniors still out of class the 2 weeks before that? Can you talk through that? Usually it's like right around the 9th or whatever that is, but 6th, I guess, next year. First weekend in June.
If I'm remembering correctly from the calendar committee meetings, that move was so that the seniors wouldn't get out so much earlier than the rest of the school.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the,
So seniors are in through
what is,
13th.
I'm trying to look at it here.
The 13th.
The 13th is.
Right, I know the graduation date is the 13th, but what is the last day for seniors? Matt, can Matt say that? Oh, he can't answer because he's not on the agenda.
Is it the 10th?
He's over there.
Or is it like
He's
the
over
last
He's over there.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's
it's
You have
usually
answers
Tuesday.
to all of those questions.
Yeah.
Ask me.
We would like to be
Like
too.
you to.
Yeah.
So
You were on the
moved.
list, yeah.
First, on the unequal balance of the school days in the quarter.
Yeah.
You noted the fourth quarter is the shortest one.
Yeah.
That's where all the snow days in there.
Okay,
So it's the
thank
the
you.
makeup days, so it evens out. And we actually had discovered that we were not following the rules with seniors by having them out as early as they were. So they actually need to go one more week to meet the requirements. They're supposed to only have 5 days less than the freshmen through juniors. That's why I had to move closer to the end.
Fourth is their last day? Is that correct?
So what's the last day?
So it'll be that Wednesday before graduation.
The ninth.
Oh, okay.
Can you, because it's like, we have all these questions every year and I forget by the time we're sitting here. So what were your goals
Oh,
for
for the calendar.
adjusting? And then I have them both pulled up because I remember
Other
trying to
people
figure out
who are
what's
on the committee can jump in, but I think, there was a strong imperative for maximum number of full weeks. Like, I mean, the board had expressed that they wanted as many full weeks and to manage the number and location of the early releases. I think that was an imperative, and then there was the issue, obviously the graduation issue and the issue around the semester and navigating snow days, but also giving teachers the day to do their report cards and that. But I think the through line was about greatest number of uninterrupted weeks, right?
I would ask that last year, we did put the last senior day, it's circled in green, or squared in green, if that is helpful.
Oh, if we add
Put
square
that
to the
back
ninth.
on the ninth.
Yeah.
And then there was also.
Catherine?
I have a question. But first I have a thank you, right? This is a logistical feat, so everybody who has sat in on the meetings, I would like to thank you very, very much. I am curious, and I would love to understand, I'm looking at the week of winter break, and I'm thinking about the experience this year of the day and a half for some. And I heard from a number of people who weren't able to travel to be with families because of the schedule of their staff or because of the weather and being in a rural place and driving or changes in flights. And that's what I'm interested in, is that combined with who actually came to school on those days, because one of my concerns is if we're pulling our kids out because we aren't going to be able to get to family for these time periods, then is the school penalized for those low attendance days? And are we shooting ourselves in the foot? Actually, I don't like that phrase. Are we setting ourselves up for something that we're then also penalizing ourselves for? So I'd love to just, I don't understand.
We had extensive discussions on the calendar committee about whether that should be like the full 2 weeks, right? But like everything with the calendar, there's, I mean, Selena's probably sat through more calendar committees than any person on the planet. There just like isn't agreement. Yeah, there's a strong contingent who feels like for all the reasons you just said, it would be better to do the full 2 weeks. So there's another strong contingent who's like, for kids who aren't going away and aren't whatever, there's other staff who feel like they want that time and they don't, and for more vulnerable kids, they want them out of school less time. So it's continually a compromise situation.
Selena was wonderful. Thank you, Rhonda, as well, and giving me the numbers just so for us, for our sake. So on the 22nd this year, there was 85% attendance, AOS-wide. And on the 23rd, there was 78%. And so my question is, does that come back to us in lowering our, in increasing our chronic absenteeism and lowering our, are there repercussions in that coming
the overall average daily attendance for the district up until through today was 92%.
Yeah.
So it is impacting that day's average daily attendance by having it, well, we assume, we don't know all the variables, but we would assume that's because it's so close to the holiday and so close to a vacation week.
There was flu also.
There
A
was a
yeah.
huge flu.
A right.
It's the great.
Yeah, and almost every school, when you broke it down by school, there were more people out on the Tuesday than there were on the Monday. But how that impacts the chronically absent, there are more students absent, so it is going to impact that chronically absent, which impacts our funding. But we're a low receiver district, and it's 1 or 2 days, so.
And it is a day later next year, I do notice that, so it's not staff being,
Maybe it won't
staff
be.
being released on the evening of the 23rd
Trying to get places.
But we do want everybody to be with And I would just add, I feel like we're missing our service promise, which is interrupting educational inequities so that every child can be successful, one conversation at a time. Mike always opens with that. We use that as our guiding decision maker. It's not how are we going to fend up against these stats. It's what's our service promise, what's our primary objective. And when we come to these conflicts, we try to go back to that and say, okay, what's our mission here? And if we're working to interrupt inequities, who are the kids we're concerned about, and then we'll put them first. For the day and a half there. I'm looking for
Other questions about the calendar? So, yeah.
Just one quick, there's a note about in June, the potential to move the holiday to the 21st. That potential ability to move holiday to 21st.
That would be for Juneteenth?
Yeah.
Juneteenth is on a Saturday, so at this point, we don't know if it will be celebrated on the Friday or the Monday.
I see. Okay.
This is in the case of studies, right? That we're talking about.
Yeah. Yes, that's if we use all our surveys. Any other questions? This will come back for a vote next on February 9th, and hopefully then we'll have a calendar. I did find that public comment.
Yeah.
What's that?
It was just directed to you.
Oh, but it said to the members of the AOS board.
Oh,
Oh, they sent it to me.
yeah.
But they intended, so I should have followed up, they
That's okay.
intended it for to go to everyone, so I, have just emailed it and maybe we can post it in the minutes or something like that. It primarily, her primary concern is with the Connors Emerson calendar and the days out in Connors Emerson, so I was gonna send it especially to you, Maureen, to, respond to that. It's just expressing concern about wanting kids to be ahead in school for more instructional days. You'll all see it. So I apologize about that because it did come to me, but then when I read it, it was directed to everyone. So okay. We have one.
Jessica?
Yes.
Sorry. I just have one. So we're not discussing the Bar Harbor calendar, which makes sense, but we will be, this group will be who's voting on the Bar Harbor calendar. Is that correct?
Because the calendar is voted on as a whole AOS. So yeah, do you want me to?
No, I guess I would just invite, like, we have another meeting before now and then, and or if there's questions that come up because of the public comment or something,
Yeah.
obviously we don't, I assume it would feel challenging to vote on something that is being discussed a lot somewhere else.
So I
On
encourage
the
you,
meeting.
everyone, even if you're not in Bar Harbor, because we'll be voting it, to peruse the Bar Harbor school calendar, which basically has, you can click on it, a 10-day, and they'll need to get a waiver from the state, time that children will be out of school, in the end of October for the building move-in, situation. Is there anything to say about that? And I think this public comment that you will all be reading expresses concern just about the impact it gets of that process.
It would just be helpful when we do have the vote at the AOS for the folks from Bar Harbor to tell us where they're at on that. I mean, we'd be guided by.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, but if the next meeting is coming up, it's the voting meeting. That in the meantime, if there's questions or whatever,
yes.
I would just invite.
Do you have thoughts you'd like to express on it now?
I mean, I guess, and we keep bugging Selena about this too. When's the vote? But like, so my vision for this is we've discussed it at a number of different meetings leading up to this. It was put on the agenda so that you all could see it. My feeling is that at our next meeting, we will discuss it again. We've asked Heather and Mike to come back with some changes from the last time we saw it. And there's going to be some conversation, working with community teachers and kind of getting some feedback about some days we had some questions about. My thought is at our next board meeting, we will have one of these. We know it doesn't count officially, but so that when, we'll have a thumbs up, thumbs down, like we can live with this, we think this is good. And then my hope is that calendar would come forth to the AOS, and then we could give you a little blurb about who, what, when, and why, and then you can vote from there. If you want more than that, then we would have Dr. Webster come and give you a chit chat about that, bring her up here and explain that. But we've gone through it extensively in public open meetings for a couple of at least two times, so it's almost there.
Thank you, Marie and Misha. That's helpful. Thank you. Carrie?
So I heard you saying that it's the 10 days for the move-in, and I see them on the calendar blocked out, but are they made up anywhere, or when they get the waiver, do they not have to replace any of those days?
Mike has requested a waiver from the state for 4 days. Mm. The other days are absorbed in there throughout. Some of them might be, and that's where we're kind of like nitpicking about where those will be, and therefore it bumps our snow days. So where will our snow days be? Mm. So we're really down to that nitty gritty. I would say Heather and Mike have done a really good job making a really. I mean, it could be a lot worse. We could be having to go remote for weeks or months and things like that. We're not doing that, but they've done a lot of work to try to squeeze out every moment of instructional time that is possible and lessen the impact on teachers and families as much as possible. And I think with the 4-day waiver for the state, they've found a way to miraculously get those 6 days in some other ways without us hopefully going to school until July.
Yeah. And what happens if the construction is delayed?
That's not going to happen. And if Heather, if anything that with the board's permission, we could ask Heather, Dr. Webster, to come up and answer any questions. But if I'm saying anything wrong, just like raise your hand. But this, so far, we get a report every few days. Heather's goes out there and shakes them all down to say what's going on, and we haven't had a delay since the DEP delay, which was outside of the control of the construction. Folks that do the construction was really at the state level, and the delay. So.
Is there a very large financial penalty for not putting it on time?
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
I'm just curious, the state requires us to do a February break and an April break?
No, this is a long, so
Sure. Yeah.
I hate to, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. It basically has to do with if you don't align with what other schools in the state do, then it becomes very complicated because of, the kind of extracurricular activities and things that we have explored, not aligning and doing, lunch break or something, but with things like jazz and other kinds
basketball.
of basketball.
Yeah, so not directly, but indirectly.
It becomes extremely an HGTC, right? We can't deviate from, for varieties of factors. It becomes very difficult.
Philosophically, we've talked about a March break in the past, but
and then every time it comes up, it just proves unfeasible. Once no matter how amazing it seems like, and like what they do in Massachusetts, whatever, it never can actually
Yeah, I grew up in Wisconsin, so I never got quite used to it because they weren't allowed to start until after Labor Day, and there was just break in the spring semester.
Yeah, yeah. Any other questions? So if you think that, you know, you have any, like you need more from the Bar Harbor discussion or whatever than what's proposed, let me know so we can make a plan for that in the next meeting when we get ready to vote on the calendar. But I feel confident in Marie and Misha's ability to explain, you know, to talk to the group. Okay, we have one action item, an MOU to clarify the first snow day for the custodial staff, and this is largely a bureaucratic measure. Over 2 cycles of the collective bargaining, there was a lot of confusion over the paid first canceled day. So this just tidies that up. I don't think there's more to say about that, so that everyone understands what they're getting paid for and what they're not getting paid for. Are there questions about that? Yes, we do.
I move to approve the MOU to clarify first snow day for support staff.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Any other business? Okay, Gail?
I understand that parents may have received a letter about potential activities by the federal ICE agents. I haven't gotten that because I'm not a parent. So it would be nice to receive that, and it would be nice to know that our staff and our students and community can be reassured that we have as good a plan as we can have to keep our schools and our people in our schools safe and fully protected by proper law and procedure. So it would be, if that is out there, it would be good for the whole board to get it.
Yes, I will make sure that it gets sent to the whole board list so that people who don't have children.
And I guess we need to know that we may need to ask ourselves as a board, what is there anything that the board should be doing or should be engaged in at this point in time? It would be foolish in the extreme to think, well, that's just happening in your town, same here, and we wouldn't have a problem here, unfortunately. If there are legitimate law enforcement activities, there are legitimate law enforcement activities, but there's suggestion that that's not what we're seeing in many cases.
Yes, I mean, I think our interest, in which comes through in the letter, is like we want every child in our community to be in school, like that's, and we want them to be safe and comfortable getting to school. So our interest is definitely in ensuring that school is a safe place for them, and then they can get here and get home safely. And that's our marching orders.
Yeah, and I would just add that Mike did review protocols with the administrative team in the fall, and then we redistributed those as a refresher and asked everybody last Friday to just review those again. Stay sharp.
The letter that Mike distributed to the school system was shared, I think, on Bar Harbor Story, if not the island. I think it was at least Bar Harbor Story. So hopefully, I mean, I think it's important for everyone, not even just board members.
Sure.
So I think that's
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I've lost my agenda. Thank you. Is there other public comment? And again, I apologize on my the public comment oversight, we'll get that out to everyone. Are there, and future agenda items, certainly we'll have a return to our reports and updates. We'll have the calendar back before us as an action item. Are there other things?
Should we discuss a transportation plan? How does this work? If we're hearing consistently that there are bus issues, I don't know how that process.
Yeah, I can talk to Mike about, and he'll be back on Monday, so about where that might, if it would go in February or maybe March or how we might, yeah, we can discuss that.
I just want to emphasize that because if we can do centralized curriculum, we can do centralized special ed, we can do centralized all these tech, we should be able to figure out, even within this structure, how to better deploy transportation.
We have
That's
been
cool.
trying.
Yeah. I know, but
Yes, we could, for a while that was a standing agenda, and we were getting transportation updates. We can see if we can return to a transportation update. I will discuss that. Okay, next meeting is Monday, the 9th of February at probably 6, but, oh wait, confirmation. Yes. Yes. Oh.
You got your farmer's almanac right there. Really totally buying that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?